Today on NewsWatch, Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz is leading the GOP polls in Iowa. We'll show you what's contributing to his success. Plus, a nutrition crisis is sweeping America. See why most of us aren't getting the proper amount of nutrients from the foods we eat. And In the Heart of the Sea hits theaters this weekend. We're sitting down with the film star for a behind-the-scenes look at what the movie's all about. Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Caitlin Burke. It's the largest surge in history of recent Iowa caucuses. Republican presidential candidate Ted Cruz has zoomed past Donald Trump and into the lead in the key state. Dale Hurd has the story.
His 21 percentage point leap is a record breaker and has Cruz at 31%, up 10 over Donald Trump at 21%. Dr. Ben Carson has dropped to 13%, and Senator Marco Rubio is at 10%. Cruz is now leading with two critical groups in the Republican base, evangelical and Tea Party conservatives. An evangelical advocacy group in Iowa explained why they would be endorsing Cruz.
We have found him as a man of deep character, a man that we can fully trust, who has a consistency of convictions, who loves his God, who loves his spouse, and who loves his family.
And the Des Moines Register reports there are signs Cruz may not have peaked in Iowa yet. Cruz support hits 51% when voters are asked to list their first and second choices for president. That's tops as well. And that launched Donald Trump onto the attack. On Fox News Sunday, he called Cruz a maniac.
I don't think he's qualified to be president.
Why not?
Because I don't think he has the right temperament. I don't think he's got the right judgment.
What's wrong with this temperament?
Well, you look at the way he's dealt with the Senate, where he goes in there like frankly, like a little bit of a maniac. He'll never get anything done, and that's the problem with Ted.
Cruz responded by tweeting this video, saying, "In honor of my friend, @RealDonaldTrump, and good-hearted maniacs everywhere." And then, after bashing Cruz, Trump said he still sees Cruz as playing a part in his administration. As Cruz rises, Ben Carson is falling, down 15 points since October and in third place.
Poll numbers go up and down. I wasn't excited when they're up. I'm not excited when they're down.
One political operative told the Des Moines Register Trump is paying a price for not being nice, saying Iowa's 11th commandment is "Thou shalt be nice," and that Trump has broken that commandment too many times. Dale Hurd, CBN News.
President Barack Obama is planning a series of events this week to explain his strategy for stopping ISIS abroad and its sympathizers at home. The president has been widely criticized for failing to erase public fears about homegrown terrorism after the San Bernardino attacks. White House officials say his terrorism strategy campaign also aims to ease a jittery public 1 week before Christmas. The San Bernardino terrorist attack is also raising fresh questions about the vetting process for granting U.S. visas. The Pakistan-born attacker Tashfeen Malik was reportedly vetted by Homeland Security, the State Department, and even had a criminal background check. But investigators failed to spot some glaring red flags before granting her a fiancé visa. Malik had posted about her radical Islamic views on social media. Some of them posted to American Saeed Farouk, who wanted to marry her. Now lawmakers are calling to revise the visa process.
Had they checked out Tashfeen Malik a little more, maybe she wouldn't have been gotten a visa. Maybe those people in San Bernardino would be alive. I am asking to immediately initiate a program that would check the social media sites of those admitted on visas to see if they are using words and talking about things like jihad, explosives, mass shootings. It's outrageous that this isn't already done.
U.S. officials say Malik and Farouk discussed martyrdom and jihad as early as 2013. Planned Parenthood is suing the state of Ohio. The lawsuit claims Ohio politicians are attempting to ban abortion. It comes after Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine said Friday that an investigation by his office revealed that Planned Parenthood or its partners dispose of aborted fetal parts in landfills. Planned Parenthood denies the claims, saying this is just another attempt to take away women's rights to safe and legal abortions. Ohio Governor John Kasich, a Republican presidential candidate, stands behind the investigation. While much of the U.S. East Coast experienced unusually warm temperatures over the weekend, the forecast was very different for some states further west. The Pacific Northwest was slammed by heavy rains, causing flash floods, mudslides, and severe road damage in some parts of Washington state, leaving at least 2 people dead. In Texas, 2 reported tornadoes hit the ground in Lindale, ripping apart homes and devastating an entire neighborhood.
I had just gone inside probably about 2 minutes, and it was so quick, so fast.
Went from a relatively nice, warm, calm day to absolute chaos.
With wind gusts of up to 64 miles per hour, one of the tornadoes destroyed 50 homes along its path, ripping up trees and shredding rooftops. Volunteers placed almost 1 million wreaths on the graves of the nation's veterans this week. As Paul Strand reports, it was their way to honor those who have sacrificed so much.
More wreaths were placed at veterans' graves than ever before during this past weekend's Wreaths Across America, an event that began in 1992.
We receive no government funds, so everything that you see here, what gets done, 901,000 wreaths across the country, all paid for by individuals with $15 donations and some corporate support.
Volunteers fanned out at more than 1,000 sites nationwide, the most here at Arlington National Cemetery. Some 240,000 wreaths placed, a record breaker.
As Wreaths Across America goes on year after year, you think interest might start to wane, but actually it's getting bigger and bigger each year.
And the fact that we've been at war for over 13, 15 years and that we're still continuing to get the support from the Americans really is a lot, means a lot.
I am blown away by the support of just the local community and the military families that are here to help honor our fallen soldiers.
For many, the day was intensely personal. David Lawlish just met Liz Michaud as she placed a wreath at his uncle's grave. But also,
our son is buried here as well.
Where did he die?
Iraq, day 11.
Many came with their children, a chance to live out the Wreaths for America motto: remember, honor, teach. Karen Worcester's husband started all this 23 years ago. She told volunteers,
"We're not here to decorate graves. We're here so you can take the opportunity to reintroduce yourselves and to introduce your children to the men and women here, and remember not their deaths, but their lives."
It is amazing to see the people here, the generations.
These folks gave their lives for us to be free and be here, so I'm honored to be able to be here today.
Usually these sites are just white headstones and green grass, but now each is decorated with a beautiful wreath, brought here by tens of thousands of patriots who want to honor the hundreds of thousands of American veterans lying in Arlington National Cemetery. Paul Strand, CBN News.
Coming up, you may think you're eating healthy, but what you don't know could be killing you. Find out how you can make sure you're getting the proper nutrition. It sounds strange, but people are starving themselves into obesity. Our bodies crave the nutrients found in healthy foods, but if you eat food that's missing those vital nutrients, you'll just keep craving more food. Unfortunately, our food supply is sorely lacking micronutrients. Even fresh fruits and vegetables are a lot less nutrient-rich than they were a couple of generations ago. As Lori Johnson tells us, micronutrient deficiency can lead not only to obesity, but a whole host of other health problems as well.
We all know that going without food causes malnutrition, but people who eat plenty can also suffer from it and become very sick. Just ask Mira Kelton.
When I was 30, I was diagnosed with advanced osteoporosis, which means I had the bone density of an 80-year-old, which was quite a shock to the physicians at that time. They had no idea what had happened. And all they told me was that I was going to be on prescription medications for the rest of my life. It wasn't going to get any better, and that was going to be my new existence.
Mira didn't want drugs and searched for a natural treatment.
So I'm going to try taking calcium. Maybe that'll work. And then I started studying calcium, and that led to magnesium. And magnesium research led to vitamin D and boron and K. And all of a sudden I realized that at the heart of what had happened to me was a really big micronutrient deficiency, or a deficiency in these vitamins and minerals that my bones were just starving for.
After 2 years of the right vitamins and minerals, her osteoporosis disappeared. Now she and her husband want to spread the news about the dangers of micronutrient deficiency.
For me, it was osteoporosis, but it's also things like cancer. It has to do with your high blood pressure, your cholesterol levels, your metabolism, whether or not you sleep well. It has to do with everything, diabetes. And it also has to do a lot with obesity.
So this is why we say that micronutrient deficiency is the most widespread and dangerous health condition of the 21st century, because we're all walking around with these deficiencies and we have no idea that this is even a problem.
According to government statistics, this affects 90% of Americans, which means nearly all of us lack at least one critical vitamin or mineral necessary for good health. Topping the list, potassium, calcium, magnesium, and vitamins A, D, and E. Processed food is the major culprit because it's stripped of nutrients. In their book Naked Calories, the Caltons say 1/4 of the food we eat contains zero nutritional value. Some foods actually take away micronutrients. For instance, the phosphoric acid in carbonated drinks interferes with your body's ability to absorb calcium.
There's a war going on right now with Americans and food manufacturers, and the problem is most Americans have no idea it's even going on.
Most of us know processed food is bad for us, but what's shocking is that even fresh fruits and vegetables aren't as healthy as you might think. For instance, apples contain 77% fewer minerals than they did 80 years ago. Why the change? Over-farming. It robs the soil of precious micronutrients. Shipping produce long distances adds to the problem. Picking it too soon and exposing it to light, heat, and air a long time takes away micronutrients. A healthier alternative is local produce. Meat also falls victim to this trend. Most animals are raised inside factory farms and fed unhealthy grains or worse.
They're being fed up to 7 pounds a day of stale candy and chocolate bars that these candy manufacturers are throwing at these farmers and saying, hey, fatten up the cattle with this. It will spike their insulin. You'll get more marbling in the meat and you'll be able to sell the meat. It will taste better. This is just, to me, an abomination.
So if you're a meat eater, choose grass-fed beef.
Now, what's going to happen when the animal is out in the sunshine, absorbing the vitamin D, eating the grass? They're going to have over 400% more vitamin A and vitamin E in that meat. There's going to be 300% more of something called CLA, or conjugated linoleic acid. This is a kind of fat that science thinks is going to help to prevent cancer. It's also a kind of fat that helps to burn our body fat. And this is a naturally occurring fat that these cows can really only get when they eat grass.
Micronutrient deficiency isn't just caused by an unhealthy diet. Certain lifestyle choices can also deplete our body's vitamins and minerals. The list includes smoking, living in a polluted city, stress, that's a big one, and surprisingly, prescription medications.
And that's really scary because when these things become deficient, we start to get sick.
So to make up for what your body's missing, take a supplement, but choose carefully.
The problem is most multivitamins don't disintegrate, they don't have enough of the good stuff in them, and also they're competing with each other for entry into the receptor sites in your gastrointestinal tract.
The Caltons recommend highly absorbable powdered multivitamins without fillers, binders, sugars, or artificial colors and flavors. It should also be designed to take more than once a day to account for water solubility. So while the standard American diet and lifestyle can lead to malnutrition, we can get the micronutrients our bodies crave by avoiding processed food, eating more local organic produce, and supplementing properly. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Coming up, a new movie with Thor as you've never seen him before. We go behind the scenes of the new film In the Heart of the Sea when we come back. Moby Dick is one of the most famous books in American history. Most people don't know that this classic novel was inspired by a true survival story. And today, Oscar-winning director Ron Howard brings that epic adventure to theaters. Ephraim Graham sat down with the director and star Chris Hemsworth to talk about why they wanted to bring this story to the big screen.
Let go glue lines and sheet hose!
There's a snarl in the gasket, sir! Head down! Behind your head, Captain!
The Essex last set sail from Nantucket, Massachusetts in 1820. And that final journey of the whaling ship and its crew is still a gripping story, nearly 200 years later.
When Pollard gets in, tilt back down to the water.
Film director Ron Howard brings the book In the Heart of the Sea to the big screen.
Those men had a will to live, and they also had something else. They expected adversity. A life at sea meant they were probably going to be shipwrecked at some point. They were going to suffer.
A whale, sir. It stove the ship.
What?
We lost Easton and Sanborn.
The pumps are useless, sir.
Prepare to abandon ship. We can't row our way home.
A massive sperm whale rammed the Nantucket and split it in half, leaving the crew shipwrecked.
As I live and breathe, he's mine.
Actor Chris Hemsworth plays first mate Owen Chase.
You brought this script to Ron. What was it about it that made you bring it to him?
I was just fascinated by the story, you know, and then the moment I found out it was based on true events, I was even more encapsulated by it, you know.
It was a terrific script. It was a script that had been around for 10 or 12 years, and it was an obvious movie idea, big movie idea, but a really daunting, challenging one. And I'd worked on the water, and that's always something to be, you know, very respectful of. It's a huge challenge. Then I found out that it was based on real events. So I liked the script. Then I found out that it was inspired by truth, and went back and learned more about the actual story. I liked the way the script had adapted the actual story. I shaped it into a movie narrative, and then I was really, pardon the pun, I was hooked.
The men were shipwrecked more than 1,000 miles from land.
What do you think this story says about the frailty of man and the endurance of man? I don't think I could have survived this.
I felt that. I mean, in fact, I remember talking to people about it. We had a man who had survived for 76 days at sea, a man named Steve Callahan, who'd been a technical advisor on Life of Pi. He wrote a great book called Adrift. He's a fantastic guy. He came and worked with us as a technical advisor, and he also, he's a great sailor, world-class sailor, so he helped out and doubled some of the guys in some of the storm scenes and things like that. Steve was, as he began to learn the facts of this story, he was stunned that those men had survived.
In a small way, Hemsworth and the film's cast tasted what it took to survive.
Tell me about the weight loss journey. I mean, I think of my son seeing you as Thor and what we're used to seeing, and then how I saw you in the film. What was that journey for you?
Yeah, it's pretty tough. It was, you know, the 4 months where we started the film at, 3,000 calories and then dwindled down to about 500 or 600 by the end of the shoot. And that was one of the toughest things I've done, but I think absolutely essential for us to, in any way empathise with what these guys went through and give a truthful portrayal of their experience, And it made you, there was no acting required. We felt exhausted and beat to hell and starving.
This is a real-life adventure story.
By the time he's going down there, you dip down enough.
But its Academy Award-winning director says it's also an ambitious film.
One of the things that touched me in the film is the moment that literally have next to nothing, maybe a cracker,
right,
and they still pause to give thanks to God in that moment.
Well, that was inspired by real events in the book and in an account of the and that man, that character, was he wasn't a minister, wasn't a preacher, but he was a very devout guy, very religious man. And he sort of became the spiritual leader.
There is certainly no shortage of faith in a survivor's 90-day journey at sea. Ephraim Graham, CBN News, New York.
So great to see the element of faith in these movies. In the Heart of the Sea opened nationwide over the weekend. Go check it out. We'll be right back. Operation Blessing is helping hundreds of displaced victims of ISIS stay warm this winter. Arkan's son was killed by ISIS in Iraq, so he took his daughter-in-law and grandchildren on a dangerous journey to the Kurdish-protected city of Erbil. Arkan's family is only one of hundreds of internally displaced families in Iraq. They're struggling to make ends meet and to stay warm this winter. But thanks to Operation Blessing, partners' teams have been able to distribute coats and shoes to help children and their families stay warm this winter. That's it for now on CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care about most at cbnnews.com. And tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here. We'll hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.